witness, but I am not finished. So keep your mouth closed and let your eyes listen.
Well, TG fans, it's Coach's Spotlight. We're really lucky today to have Mike Byrnes from the Central Mass Swarm. I would say, without a doubt, the fastest growing program in all New England. So, Mike, welcome here.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate you guys having me here.
Mike, thanks for being here. We wanted to get right into personal background. I mean, we put it out there already. You know, haven't graduated college yet.
No, not yet. This May.
So for our audience out there, you know, talk about how, you know, being such a young guy, you're already in the position that you are as a director, your personal background in the game.
Yep. So I obviously played my whole life. And then when I got into college at Nichols, I got into the coaching side of things, with just coaching in a local summer league. And then from there, I got pulled into coaching for the Swarm for Dean Packard. And then I kind of realized how much I liked doing the youth stuff.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to get a job at WPI coaching for Coach Bartley, which I did for 2 years. And then I created a training program called One Stop Basketball Training for the Central Mass area, just different individual and group training things. Mm-hmm. And then from there, this January, I took over the Swarm from Dean Packard, and then here we are now. I run the training program, and I run the Swarm, and it's been great since then.
And Dean really did a great job laying the foundation for such a good program. Good values, all about teaching, doing things the right way. What did you learn from Dean, and what have you carried that into yourself as you run the Swarm now?
He taught me everything. From the whole skill development thing, which was huge then and it's huge now. How to register for the tournaments, what tournaments to go to.
Don't worry, we'll make that pretty easy.
every little thing, every aspect of it, that he taught me it just makes it easy now. Like everybody always asks, how do you transition from being so small to so big? It's just been easy because it's just the same thing.
And I'll give you a lot of credit. A lot of programs, all of a sudden they want to go from, doing things on a small scale to large scale. And inevitably when they get bigger, they don't get the right coaches, they get disorganized, and it doesn't last. And you're really doing it from the ground up, doing things the right way. And to me, that's a big credit to you. And one thing about yourself, it's really all about the skills. First time I met you, came in here last year, all is about one-on-one workouts, group training. Why is that such a demand, to get training from you?
I think it's huge just because it's how they get better, and it's hard to find. There's a lot, obviously there's a million AU teams around, but it's hard to find skill development. It's hard to get gyms. Kids are outside every day playing basketball, playing pickup, but there's really nothing around where they're, working at their skills to get better, and I thought, there was a serious need for it. So I thought it'd be great to pick up.
And Mike, from your background, what was the genesis of that skill development? Was it you as a player? Is that how you approached the game? Was it a coach along the way that really emphasized skill development? What was the genesis for you?
A little bit of both. I had some great coaches growing up, and then I think the huge thing was working for Coach Bartley and, alongside Ryan Kane, who's now the head coach at Keene State, because he was huge on skill development and learning all that stuff from Coach Bartley and just different coaches along the way. Like working different camps, like the Brown camp from Mike Byrnes, and I just picked up, one thing at a time, all over the place to kind of put it all together to what it is now.
And Steve mentioned it. Talk about your coaching staff. Obviously as you're building a program, especially Steve, when you expand a program, you got to have that staff that is helping you out along the way. Talk about that. I know you mentioned it before to me as we were talking.
Yeah, no, it's huge. I coach 3 teams myself, which you guys make it pretty easy with the whole schedule and everything. Dean Packard still, he coaches an 8th grade team for us. I have Eddie Grimsky, who's a big-time player at Stonehill, who coaches our juniors. Dan Peretti coaches our sophomore group. He's a great coach. He was involved with the Expressions early on years ago. And then we have some great coaches on the girls' side, which we started the girls' program this year. A lot of different travel coaches from our area, who know the area, know the game really well. So they made the whole girls' program possible.
And from the fall, I believe, what was it, 7 to 19 teams?
Yeah, it was a big jump.
That's a big jump.
Big jump.
Steve, you could speak to that, being around this for years. Like you double up.
It's a whole new ball game. You're dealing with, instead of 70 parents, you're almost 200 parents.
Yep.
A lot of different gyms, getting that practice schedule. Not to mention getting uniforms for all these teams, which certainly was a process to say the least.
Yeah.
It's always something, and great credit to Mike. Always picks up the phone. It doesn't matter if it's an upset parent about playing time, what have it not. Always going to deal with the issue head on, and you'd be surprised how rare that is.
How have, Mike, people I don't think necessarily realize, it's one thing to do skill development, be in the gym helping kids, totally different situation when you put on the program director hat. What have been the challenges for a guy who obviously loves to coach the game, now, getting to a point where you're running upwards of 20 teams? How has that been for you?
It's a lot. I love it, but it's, you try to be everywhere at the same time. You got to make sure everybody's on time, everything's organized, everybody's uniform fits, like the practice schedule is on point, everybody has to be on the same page. And I think the communication is the big part. Like I send out 1,000 emails. When people complain I send out too many emails, just because you have to keep everybody on the same page. It was, easier with 70 kids versus 210.
Sure.
My partner says all the time, the difference between the best organization and the weakest is communication organization. That's everything. And I've seen it so far.
Yeah.
I mean, how many games you guys have played, and everyone's got to every game, even through snowstorms, it doesn't matter. You guys find a way to get it done.
Mike, I mean, I've been out on the circuit now for, basically the fall circuit and half the spring. You notice that teams obviously have identities when they come in the gym. How would you describe the identity of the Central Mass Swarm? For people who are going to watch them play, what can they expect?
A lot of pressure defense. We love to press, and the name speaks for itself. Swarm.
Yeah.
Swarm defense, and we like to play fast on offense. And then this year we're doing a lot of stuff with the read and react offense with a couple of teams, and then looking maybe going forward, implement that to every team.
Right.
Kind of be like a program-wide thing.
We obviously always want you to be able to plug what you're doing, and I know it's twofold for you. Can you talk first about your skill development program, and then we'll get into the Swarm and how people can find out more information?
Yep. So the one-stop basketball training, like I said, right now it's Central Mass. We do it in Charlton. It's right on Route 20, not too far from Connecticut, like the Sturbridge area. Mm-hmm. And that's anything from individual training to groups to team training. We do it year-round. We have a website where you can go on, all the information's right on there, contact information. You can fill out an inquiry.
What is that website?
It's onestopbasketballtraining.com. Mm-hmm. And then as far as the Swarm, same thing. We have a website right in just Central Mass right now. We have all our information up on there. We practice in Charlton and Dudley, Mass, which aren't too far from each other, kind of right in the middle of Central Mass.
Great.
I did hear him say right now, so be on the lookout, New England fans, Swarm basketball. Thanks again for coming in.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Thanks, Mike.